Well, good morning and Happy New Year to each and every one of you. I want to thank Candace and the Chamber for hosting this event. I want to recognize the county elected officials right now, so as I call your name, please stand up. And the first one I'm going to call is Claude Porter. Claude assured me that when he gets up and leaves, it's not because he's protesting against my speech, but he has court starting this morning. Rachel Foster, Leslie McCarty, Art Maglinger, Jeff Jones, Barry Smith. I don't know if our former Sheriff Keith Kane is here, but if he is, I want to say thank you, Keith, for all the many years that you've given this community. Jennifer Biesecker. Their offices and staff continue to provide services to this community as the pandemic hung on throughout 2021. And I want to acknowledge the fiscal court staff, as well as our department heads and other county employees. If you would stand up, anyone that works for fiscal court. They remained on the job. Come on, get up, guys. If I got to stand up here and do this, you get to stand up. They remained on the job, performing, thank you, performing at the highest level during the latest COVID surge. And along with Commissioners Charlie Castlin, George Wathen, and Mike Koger, now it's your turn to stand, guys. They continue looking for ways to provide county services in a reasonable and efficient manner. I want to take this opportunity to recognize Owensboro Health, their employees, the doctors, nurses, all the healthcare workers in our community, and Clay Horton in the health department and his staff. We have been now through almost 2 years of a terrible scourge and pandemic. And I don't care how many times my good friends on Facebook tell you that this is fake. It's not fake. We all know someone who has had COVID. We all know someone who has died from COVID. You can call it what you want, but it's real. Number one, as a biologist with my training from Brescia College many years ago, before it was called a university, I understand a little bit about it. And I, as an elected official, I have to deal with it. And this fiscal court has tried to provide leadership over the past year. Sometimes we hear people having COVID fatigue. Elected officials can get COVID fatigue too, because we see no matter how hard we preach, and that's what we do, we preach and we beg. We don't mandate. I think the mayor and I both together said we don't mandate. But no matter how hard we put the facts and figures out before the community, it bothers us when we see our friends and our neighbors and our loved ones leave this faces this earth way too soon. Many of you are aware that Judy and I celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary this past year. And while publicly I call Rose the First Lady of the county, we call each other Rose now just to make sure that we know if we start responding to that, then we need to go to some institution. No matter, we've also been together 57 years, and you heard me say when I announced that, what in the hell was she thinking when she said yes? I don't understand it. So Rose, thank you for being my partner all of these years. And I have my son Will with us. Will is our one and only. He is the apple of his mother's eye. Thank you. I always put down here, slow down and a deep breath. Most folks who do a really good job speaking go slowly and they breathe deeply. So it's my honor and pleasure to report this morning that the state of the county is good, we have money in the bank, we pay our bills on time. You can clap. All right, it wasn't that funny. I see you back there laughing. Yeah, And while I'm thinking about it, I want to apologize to my Afghan brother whom I spilled coffee all over this morning. Would you stand up a minute? Just stand up. Stand up, come on. Hey, Judy will tell you I'm a klutz. This is my 12th and final State of the County address. 12 times I've been able to say that we have money in the bank and we pay our bills on time. because of the efforts of our employees and our county commissioners. Recently, I heard someone comment about this statement implying that it's not relevant to good government. I don't know many folks who wouldn't say that this is a feat well done. I don't know many people in this room who are in business who wouldn't like to say that. I don't know many local governments that wouldn't like to say that. I sure wish that we would hear it more often from our state and federal government. This speech, I got up this morning and rewrote parts of it. And after going to Facebook, which let me tell you, that's my number one source of news, and reading comments about our local government, both city and county, I was going to write a terrible speech. But Brooke, my receptionist, Brooke, stand up. I want you to read what she posted or pasted in my speech.
It says behave.
Behave. So I will behave this morning. You know, I thought I'd spend some time rebutting some of those comments I heard, but I'm not going to do that. Not because I don't want to, but because of what Brooke said. And she is right. I should behave. As I'm speaking today, you're going to see scrolling across the screen some of the accomplishments made by fiscal court during my tenure, during the tenure of our commissioners. These aren't the only things that we've done, nor are they the only things we'll do, remembering still have a year to go. But it'll give you a visual of how busy this county government has been. When I was elected in 2010, I found that a lot of this job is simply about operations. Making the trains run on time, having the doors open when you say they're going to be open. Since then, I've really come to believe that the title should be county executive. The judge part is hanging around from years ago, way before I became involved in local government, and I think we should get rid of that judge title. But there are a lot of folks who like the judge title, and this is a story to be resolved another day. Anyway, this court's worked hard, and I'll comment on some of the highlights, kind of a county past, if you will. Our commitment to public safety is reflected in the increased funding to the Sheriff's Department, allowing the hiring of 2 additional deputies, replacing outdated equipment, increasing pay, particularly for court security officers and deputies. I don't know how many of you know that we get reimbursed for court security officers. I find it interesting. I see Judge Wethington over there. We get reimbursed $9 an hour. Would you really want to pay somebody $9 an hour to carry a gun and a taser and protect your life? Does that make any sense? And I'm trying to lobby this year to increase that reimbursement. We increase that pay to try to fairly compensate those folks. And Barry Smith and I worked very hard, and thank you, Barry, to come up with that new pay scale, as well as making those positions more competitive with the real world. You guys are in business in the real world. You can't hire good folks paying minimum wage or $9 or $10 an hour. Number one, good folks can't live on that kind of pay. We built a new $6 million airport fire station and purchased 8 new fire trucks for our paid and volunteer stations. And if you don't think fire trucks aren't expensive, buy one someday. We also implemented a new pay scale for our paid firefighters, making us, again, more competitive with other fire departments and the private sector. We spent $6 to $8 million on a new radio and CAD system, allowing better communication for our first responders. It's one thing to say, go protect me. It's another for those first responders to be able to communicate with each other. It also allowed our first responders to communicate with our fellow safety providers at OPD and OFD. It also enhances the 911 response. We established White Flag Days in cooperation with the city and other community leaders, assuring our homeless folks who choose not to take advantage of the many institutions available. And let me tell you, let me just stop. We have so many assets and resources to help with homelessness, to help our homeless veterans. But there are many who choose not to take advantage of it. But we, under White Flag, we assure that they have a warm and safe place to shelter during days like this. And we're going to have it for the next 4 or 5 days, and have a warm meal. We upgraded all the warning sirens to digital and increased the number of sirens. Let me comment on this. Sirens are not going to be heard inside your house unless you're under a pole where the siren is. It's meant to warn people outside. Get you a weather radio so that you'll know what's going on. Or turn to channel 14, 25, 44, and I don't know what the others are. Hey, it's an endless loop of news, they'll tell you. We also increased the number of sirens in a cooperative buyout of homes on Windcrest Drive. When I became judge, we inherited a terrible problem with flooding on Windcrest Drive. A hard rain, a 1 or 2 or 3 inch rain would put 4 foot of water in those streets. We cooperated with the state and federal government and FEMA, and we were able to resolve that long-standing issue by buying those homes out and making those folks whole and relocating them. In cooperation with the city, we established the Owensboro-Daviess County Drug and Alcohol Steering Committee. We also reestablished a teen drug court. Never understood the state, when they were cutting costs, they cut out the funding for teen drug court. They continue to provide adult drug court. Well, let me tell you, for every dollar I spend in teen drug court, I get back $100. For every dollar we spend in adult drug court, and it's very important, but it's hard to change somebody's mind when they're 40 or 50 years old. We also, under the leadership of Mayor Watson, Daviess County was designated a HIDTA county, a high-intensity drug trafficking area, making us eligible for federal funds. Mayor, thank you. This wouldn't have happened without Mayor Watson's efforts. We successfully advocated, along with other community organizations, for a family court judge. We got the first one. We went back looking for a second. Weren't successful last year. I guarantee you, Candace, we will be successful this year. Over the last 11 years, we paved approximately 350 miles of county roads and streets. Think of that, 350 miles. Mark, how many miles do we have? 450 to 500? 560. So we paved over 60% of all the streets and roads in Daviess County. Don't know of any other county that wouldn't envy that record. That repaving also included a rebuilding of Daniels Lane. When the hospital relocated on Daniels Lane, we needed to widen and make it more safe. We did that. We raised Crooked Creek Road, which flooded probably 3 or 4 times a year, and successfully advocated KYTC to have US 60 raised. I don't know if you know, but during flooding times, US 60 would flood over, isolating. It would flood over between Owensboro and Stanley, and flood over between Newman and Henderson. Newman and Stanley had no way to get out. They often had to bring ladies who were going to have babies or folks who had other medical emergencies out in boats. We resolved that issue. And Kimberly-Clark, on occasion, had to shut the operation or plant down. And if we're going to invite folks into this community, we have to work with them to make sure that they can run at maximum capacity. We replaced multiple bridges and other infrastructure, making travel safer in Daviess County. Something I'm particularly proud of, and I know the commissioners are, is when the package treatment plants started to fail at Friendly Village and Cedar Hills, fiscal court intervened. And along with RWA and Claude Porter, we worked over a 4-year period, and we saw the completion of sanitary sewers out to those communities, saving approximately 175 homes that would have been condemned because they had no sanitary services. Think about that, 175 families having condemned what arguably is their biggest asset. All these things don't happen on a whim. You have to identify problems, determine if it's feasible to resolve the problem, and then determine if you can afford to do the project. Then you move forward. We continue to hear about flooding in Owensboro and Daviess County, and particularly in Daviess County. This fiscal court instituted a study with cooperation with the Corps of Engineers, who told us that we could spend $365 million trying to solve the flooding problem with Panther Creek, $365 million, and it would lower the water level 6 inches, taking about 1,200 acres out. So that's $365 million, which if I is 4, 8, 12, 16, about 20 years of the revenue of this county. You can't do it. We are flat and we flood. Panther Creek is going to flood and continue. Rhodes Creek is flat and floods. All the other creeks we flood. The county has partnered with surrounding counties, and we have partnered for multi-county co-severance grants when they were available. No longer available, but they were used to expand and modernize the airport terminal, to enhance OCTC programming by bringing in a vet tech program and an advanced automotive program. We use county co-severance funds to take potable water to all those residents in Daviess County who wish to participate. The county partnered with the city, each of us providing $1 million to start a capital campaign, which resulted in the building of the Phase 2 Tech Center. Commissioner Wathen, I think I recall you saying that may be one of the best things that we've done, and we'll never understand how it has impacted this community. That project was talked about early in the early 2000s. This court was able to make it a reality. We spent millions of dollars upgrading and improving our park system, the most recent project being the spray park and playground for all at Horse Fork Creek Park. I'm particularly proud of that one. That is an urban suburban park surrounded by county and by city. All residents in this Daviess County, including our city residents, help pay for that park out of their tax dollars and should be proud of the accomplishment. We also put a modern restroom there. No more porta potties. Who likes porta potties? Yeah, okay. I once shot at a sporting clays tournament, and the guy told me that and it was during weather like this, and he said the best thing were the porta potties and the buffets. He said because the porta potties is where he went to get warm. And it's adjacent to the Greenbelt, so it's open year-round for everybody to use. We added a little hurricane boat ramp and the Daviess County Gun Club to the list of amenities our parks offer. The Daviess County Gun Club, our Parks and Recreation Department actually took it over and now runs it, and it is paying for the cost, for the capital cost. Let's turn our attention now, sometimes I get too fast, slow down. We're now turning our attention to the maintenance and upgrading of those parks that everyone loves so much. From economic development to animal care and control, Daviess County Fiscal Courts continue to invest in our community. Our $1 million Economic Development Fund resulted in new businesses and expansion of existing businesses as diverse as OZ Tyler and On Time Fab. Recently, we were successful in landing a regional driver's licensing office in Daviess County, saving each and every one of you a trip to a regional headquarters in Madisonville. And we established a vet clinic at the animal shelter. We now offer low-cost spay and neuter services by our own veterinarian. The Daviess County landfill is a hidden treasure that very few people know how important it is to this community. Because of the foresight of some of our fiscal courts in the past, that landfill was built, and it now provides a way to dispose of trash, those kinds of things at a much less cost than it would be if we had to drive to other commercial landfills. We've seen tremendous growth out there. All that growth has been paid for by cash flow. We have not bonded one dime. We've not borrowed one dime to do any of it. We do it out of the proceeds, the gate receipts. Not only are we proud of that, we are now doing land farming, meaning that we are actually making fertile once again the strip mine land that surrounded the landfill. And we also have signed a contract and are working with a gas recovery company. So we're going to take natural gas that's produced, methane that's produced in the landfill, recover it, and put it into a system and ship it all over the United States. I hate to follow the landfill statement by saying that all these things and more have enhanced the quality of life and business climate in Daviess County, but it has, all of it. But we can't rest on what we've done in the past. We can't live in the past. And much as some people wish things never to change, change is the one thing that we are guaranteed. Change along with death and taxes. So, I have a year left as the county executive. We just looked at county past and the county present. Let's look at the county future as it might be. Over the next year, we have to decide how we're going to spend $20 million in ARPA funds, American Recovery Act funds. We have some initial guidance, but we're still waiting, as normal, on the federal government and Treasury to tell us how we can spend the funds. I love how they give it to you and then tell you how you have to spend it. We know for certain that we can spend it on broadband, water, and wastewater. Our task is to decide how to spend these funds, making sure that they have a very long-lasting impact on this community. Hopefully, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we don't create an ongoing cost to county government. An ongoing cost means that at some point, it gets so high that you have to use that T word and raise taxes. So I'm going to propose to the current court that we implement a public-private partnership bringing affordable and reliable high-speed broadband to the unincorporated areas of Daviess County. This is going to happen a whole lot sooner than later. We will rework the county water system to bring more secure and reliable water to our citizens. A side benefit of these upgrades will be a county-wide fire hydrant policy, providing better public safety and lower insurance rates. We'll work with local partners to provide affordable housing. We continue to hear that. I know the city is working very hard. We are also going to work in that direction. Affordable daycare. I tell you, if there's one thing that I could leave, it would be to figure a way to provide affordable daycare to our working families, and particularly sick child care. Daycare centers don't take sick children, so when the kids become sick, mama and or daddy have to stay home. It's extremely important. And an expanded transportation network countywide. If we don't have low-cost housing, low-cost child care, and low-cost transportation, how do we attract other folks into our community? How do we do that? I don't know. I've been trying to figure it out for 12 years. We will see the first woman elected as mayor or county executive. And Tish, do you have any Girls Inc. folks with you this morning? Well, I predict it'll be a Girls Inc. alumnus. I predict that. Yeah, go ahead. The county will partner with other agencies, Chris, wherever you are, to build a stage at Yellow Creek Park. That stage will benefit Romp as well as allow the performance of outdoor concerts and plays. You know, perhaps the first play will be The Life and Times of Manetta Sleet, Daviess County's own native son and a Pulitzer Prize winner. The county will build a third paid fire station to provide for better public safety while relieving the tremendous pressure that exists on our volunteer stations. will continue to struggle with addiction, homelessness, and mental illness until the federal government and the state government invest the necessary resources to address the issue. The Daviess County Jail, Art, thank you for your leadership, but let me tell you, the Daviess County Jail is ill-equipped to deal with emotional and mental illness. That's not where those folks need to be. The county will invest more money into the jail, bringing in-house community college classes and training to those who wish to prepare themselves for the future job market. And hopefully we reduce the rate of recidivism. We will have another interstate connector by upgrading Audubon to I-169 status, and we'll see a north-south interstate connector between I-69 and I-65 utilizing the 231 Natcher corridor. I know the mayor and I attend those meetings. We have worked diligently. Our side has really worked hard to make it a reality. I think Indiana is finally getting on board. We'll fulfill our promise to roll back the county insurance premium tax to the pre-2009 rate. In 2009, we raised the county insurance tax from 4.9 to 8.9 to help pay our portion of the downtown development, the convention center. We have already rolled back a portion of it. We are going to roll the rest of it back this year, and that will be a full 7 years ahead of schedule. Hopefully, we resolve the senior citizen issue. I hate to call it an issue. I hate to call it a problem. Seniors, such as myself, such as the mayor, and other folks who live out or who are out here in the audience, are seniors. But we've been struggling with how do you provide a safe and secure and modern place. Claude, I'm just about to say something about you. See ya. For our seniors. You know, we've been working on that for 12 years. I'm hoping that we're about to resolve that. More to come, hopefully this year. These are only a few of the things that I think will happen in the future. A future that we hold in our collective hands, in your hands. But these things depend on us as a community working together for the greater good and planning together for a better and safer tomorrow. They depend on us as a community dreaming big dreams. I said that in 2004 when we were contemplating a new convention center and redoing downtown. When the naysayers, I don't think we had internet then, did we? Facebook. But anyway, when the naysayers would call Candace up and me up and anybody else, the mayor up, and tell us we shouldn't go in that direction. Let me ask you, is this dreaming big? Clap. They depend on us as a community, not closing our mind to change. Not closing our mind to change. Remember what I said? The one thing I can guarantee you is change is going to happen. Happens every day. Happens every week, every month, every year. They depend on us as a community being willing to have civil conversations and being accepting of those who have different opinions than our own. They depend on us as a community being accepting of diversity, understanding that diversity is the fire that tempers our humanity. Being accepting of other people, being accepting of a diverse community is what makes us real. It's what makes us human. It's what makes us able to shed a tear when we talk about other folks. I don't know if you've heard the term Malaphor. Father, do you know what that means? You do? Because I didn't. I had never heard of it. I had no idea what it means. But a Malaphor is a blend of idioms in which two similar figures of speech often are merged, producing a nonsensical result. And if you don't like this part of the speech, Jordan Johnson over there is the one that created it. You've all heard that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? Okay, that's an idiom. In metaphor terms, you might say the road to hell wasn't paved in a day. It's fun to see what you can create, such as a bird in the hand gets the worm. Give them enough rope to shoot themselves in the foot. You can make some of them up as well. I'm sorry, Brooke. Rome wasn't built by wackadoos. Those who don't plan have their heads stuck in a hole. People who live in glass houses, and this applies to us, doesn't it, Judy, should put up curtains. And one of my favorites, we'll burn that bridge when we get there. Funny. If you look closely, you might see or hear yourself. You might see or hear an elected leader, not me, or perhaps a candidate as I look throughout the room. Most of the time, though, I just see and hear myself, because between Rose and I, we confuse a lot of things these days. This coming year will decide our future, the direction we go. So I'm asking, please become engaged with the candidates. Involve yourself in the election. Support the candidate of your choice, don't care who that is. Support them with time. Support them with talent, with money. I remember The Last Crusade. Anybody remember that movie? Raise your hand. Come on. All right. You remember when the old knight was standing and there was a table full of chalices and he asked the people to choose wisely? Well, we need to choose wisely. That's our goal. Remember what happened to the person who chose poorly. If we choose poorly, we may be repeating the oft-heard idiom, one step forward. You guys fill in the rest. Thank you for allowing me to serve our community all these years. It's a time in my life that I'll cherish forever. God bless us, each and every one.